I mentioned yesterday the importance of using visual demonstratives with experts, and then I think you heard at least 2 or 3 of our shadow jurors also mention how they felt a visual would have been helpful, and I can promise you I did not plant them, I didn't tell them to say that. That was their honest reaction. So I think if you are engaging an expert, and the other side has, you can be pretty certain that they're going to be using some kind of demonstrative. And I agree with Bob that probably the most effective defense against an effective demonstrative on the other side is a good offense. So have your own demonstrative ready to go. That's even more persuasive. Because if you have a demonstrative that is easy for jurors to understand, relate to, and remember, what you're doing is actually training their brains really how to think about the concept that your expert is explaining. So they're kind of learning through your visual, and you're giving them that image in their minds that they will then take back into the jury room. And when they get to maybe have 1 or 2 jurors that's a little more intelligent, or they've gotten it more than the others who might still be a little confused, the jurors that have gotten it can use those visuals to educate the others. And they'll say, remember the diagram we saw? And they can even draw it out themselves. Again, if you've made it kind of easy to relate to. I always use the example of Game of Thrones when I talk about this training your brain. When I watched the HBO series before reading the books. So now when I read the books, I picture the actors and actresses from the show. So my brain is kind of trained to think in that way. That's exactly what you're doing with demonstratives. You're training people to think about the concepts in the way you want them to, not in the way the other side wants them to. So when they go back and try to figure out, well, which way should we interpret this concept, your demonstrative has dictated the way that they'll interpret it. Our consultants have a lot of experience in courtrooms, and so not only do they understand what will help a jury versus attorneys or clients who are more sophisticated, have a deeper understanding of these concepts, they also understand just the logistics of what actually looks good in a courtroom, thinking about, all right, how big is the screen going to be that the jurors are going to be looking at? What angle will they be looking at it from? Things like that, font size, colors. It might seem a little silly, and it's not just artistic flair, it really is the consultant's experience saying, this just isn't going to make the impression that you're hoping it will, and here's our advice to improve upon it.